next I want to take a look at climate zones in California. And I've been able to cobble together this is actually the climate figure in your book, and I've been able to cobble together a map that you can use to kind of see where these are with some other information in the background. The climate map in your book didn't have a lot of detail, a lot of reference information on where these actually are. So I did a little mashup using the figure from the book and an online mapping program. So I'm going to post a link to this. You can view it yourself. But I'll just use this to highlight a few things. One, there's no A climates. So for the categories, you might have to read along with the figure in your book. But there's no A climates in California. California is too far from the equator to have any A climates. The B climates that are the dry climates are in a couple of places. One, they're in transmontane California, the part that is over the mountains, both in the southern Central Valley, but especially so in the Mojave and Sonora deserts here. In the valley, we have two things going on. This color here is steppe or grassland. And in the western and southern part of the valley, including Bakersfield, it is dry enough to be considered desert. So the southern central San Joaquin Valley, a little bit outside of Clovis, is actually considered a desert environment because of how dry it is, as is the deserts in the interior. So these two represent B climates. Now, the rest of the state, most of it, is sea climates, particularly Mediterranean, which there's a few distinctions shown on this figure, but it's Mediterranean climate from in cismontane California, from Southern California up through Northern California. Now this one here, though, it's hard to distinguish these colors on this because of how they look with some transparency, but this along the mountains are actually D or continental climates because of how cold they are. And if you zoom in, if you look at your figure in the book, you can see this little ridge. These are actually E climates like you would find in the polar environments, but it's because of California's high elevation. All right, so let's take a quick look at patterns. One, the things that affect climate. One is latitude. One thing about California is it extends very far north and south. So you tend to have drier, warmer environments in the south and cooler and wetter environments in the north. The other thing is position within the landmass. California is a west coast climate, mostly, except for the interior maybe a bit, but most of California is affected by cold ocean currents and what are called the westerly winds that blow in from the ocean. However, one key thing about California is its elevation patterns. That with the coast ranges and the Sierra Nevada and other smaller mountain ranges behind the Sierra Nevada, you have a rain shadow effect where they're much wetter on part of the mountains, but in the rain shadows, there's a little rain shadow in the Central Valley and a bigger one in the desert interior. That's what gives us our B climates, which are much drier. If you didn't have the coast ranges or the Sierra Nevada, California would be more homogeneous and a wetter environment more consistently deep into California. But the mountain ranges and the coast ranges and in the Sierra Nevada cause variations. The elevation also causes us to have different temperature changes in the Sierra Nevada. So the Sierra Nevada is so big that you actually go from here, if we're driving to the Sierra Nevada, we would start in a B climate, dry, move up through C climates. Then as we go up in elevation, we'd be into D climates. And then eventually we'd be into actually what's like tundra or ice sheet at the high elevate peaks of the Sierra Nevada. So anyway, I'm going to post a link along with this video so that you can take a look at this yourself.